Gangwook headed to the seaside to hunt for case clues and unexpectedly ran into Yuri once again. Yuri slipped and fell into the sea. Gangwook jumped in to save her, only to discover the body of the missing young woman beneath the waves. After the body was pulled ashore, Yuri clutched the victim's cell phone she had found. Guided by the girl's lingering spirit, Yuri had learned the full truth of what had happened. Designer Haina had plagiarized the young woman's designs. The victim accused Haina of blatant theft. The mermaid-style sea diver dress had been crafted by the girl as she thought of her late grandmother. When Haina refused to admit the plagiarism, the victim showed her surveillance footage clearly capturing the theft. Enraged, Haina tried to snatch the phone. In the scuffle, it seemed the cell phone tumbled into the ocean. Then, catching the girl off guard, Haina cruelly pushed her into the sea. As she fell, images of her grandmother flashed before the victim's eyes, along with the dress she had designed based on her grandmother, a female sea diver. Fortunately, the phone had not fallen into the water after all. Yuri found it wedged in a crack between the rocks. Convinced Yuri would help her seek justice, the girl's spirit finally departed. Gangwook had wanted to ask Yuri how she kept turning up at crime scenes by sheer coincidence. Seeing how shaken she was after the near drowning, he held back his question. Yuri thanked him for covering her eyes the moment they spotted the corpse underwater. Though Yuri was used to living alongside ghosts, that did not mean fear never touched her. With the evidence stored on the cell phone, designer Haina was arrested. Still, Gangwook could not shake off his unease. He had noticed Yuri seemed to pull away on purpose when he tried to grab her as she fell into the sea. To him, Yuri was truly an enigmatic person. Yuri's grandmother urged her to get married as soon as possible. If word spread that Yuri could see ghosts, her claim to the family conglomerate's inheritance might fall to her younger cousin. Marriage appeared to be the most straightforward solution. The grandmother had picked out a suitable match, Eun-binYang, the hotel representative from an equally prominent family and Yuri's university classmate. She delivered an ultimatum: Yuri must get engaged to Eun-binYang within 2 months, or her inheritance rights would be reconsidered. Eun-binYang had long held feelings for Yuri. He visited the grandmother that day with flowers and gifts. Grandmother hoped to arrange a dinner with Yuri, yet Yuri had finished work early and left. Disappointment flickered across Eun-binYang's face. He had never gotten over Yuri since their college years. One day back then, he overheard relatives gossiping that he was adopted. Overcome with sorrow, he was comforted by Yuri, who covered his ears from behind, took his hand, and dragged him to the sports court to play ball and compete, easing his pain. Staring at the gift he had intended for Yuri, Eun-binYang sank into melancholy. Yuri's cousin Hayuri and Hayuri's mother coveted control of the group. Hayuri's mother, Yuri's aunt, requested a meeting with Eun-binYang and hinted she would invest in his acquisition project, but Eun-binYang turned her down politely. The aunt then brought up her daughter, hoping to match Hayuri with him. Meanwhile, Hayuri met with Player Park, her former lover. Although Player Park was imprisoned for murder, he claimed he would be released soon. His father was a congressman capable of manipulating public opinion. He swore once free, he would help Hayuri seize control of the conglomerate. After meeting Player Park, Hayuri blocked Yuri's path. Bringing up the rumors that Yuri could see ghosts, she vowed she would never allow a possessed shaman to inherit the group. Yuri remained calm and composed on the surface, yet her mind was in turmoil. Long ago, the grandmother had hired a shaman to perform a ritual to expel evil energy from Yuri and strip her of her ability to see spirits. The ritual failed, and Yuri could still clearly witness wandering ghosts. To reassure her grandmother, however, she lied and said she could no longer see any spirits. From then on, Yuri started wearing gloves and avoided physical contact with others, yet no one knew the loneliness gnawing away at her heart. Gangwook also ran into trouble. For prosecuting Player Park, the athlete's father, a congressman, saw him as a thorn in his side. Using his connections, he had Gangwook transferred to the cold case division. Solving a crime only to get demoted left Gangwook seething with resentment. His colleague dragged him out for drinks and mentioned he kept having strange dreams. His late grandmother was hitting him with a walking stick. Just then, another voice cut into their conversation. Gangwook turned and saw Yuri again. The two colleagues intended to walk over and greet her, but Yuri told them to step back 3 paces and warned them never to make the mistake of getting too close. Yuri was already slightly drunk. She said she had booked half the restaurant to stay away from crowds, leaving all surrounding tables empty. Even so, there were moments when she longed to drink among ordinary people. Upon hearing this, Gangwook strode boldly over to her table and poured her another glass of alcohol. Yuri brought up her colleague's dream and claimed it was no ordinary dream. Many spirits appear to people while they sleep. That was the cause of sleep paralysis. Her words sent chills down the colleagues' spines, and they forced themselves to keep drinking. Gangwook tried to calm her down, but Yuri pointed straight at his eyes and said all he could see was merely the surface. Slurring her words, she pulled off her gloves, remarking that skin was nothing but a surface anyway. With her gloves removed, Yuri grew unruly from intoxication. She grabbed Gangwook's shirt with her bare hands and berated him for being a shallow prosecutor. Before anyone could react, she tore his shirt wide open. Gangwook lost all face. The next morning, he poured out his grievances in front of his coworkers. Unexpectedly, a brand new shirt soon arrived from Yuri, a luxury piece worth 3 million South Korean won. Unwilling to accept an unearned gift, Gangwook took the shirt to her hotel to return it, yet Yuri happened to be out. Her secretary suggested he deliver it to her residence personally. Reluctantly, Gangwook drove to Yuri's house. She would not open the door and told him to leave the package outside. Along with the shirt, Gangwook also brought her gloves. Only then did Yuri recall taking them off the previous night and grabbing him barehanded. On top of that, the oblivious Gangwook had grabbed her hand while she tried to hail a taxi on her way home. The memories drove Yuri to panic. Gangwook set down the gloves and prepared to leave, but Yuri opened the door and invited him inside. She asked whether he had started seeing things he never could before. Gangwook failed to grasp her implication. Then he spotted a young boy inside her home. Yuri quickly lied and said the child from next door was playing hide-and-seek at her place. Shortly after, a cabinet swung open on its own. Yuri claimed the boy must have pulled the prank. Gangwook insisted on joining their hide-and-seek game and dragged Yuri into the wardrobe. When they heard the cabinet door creak open outside, Gangwook scrambled out. The boy got frightened and darted away. Oblivious as ever, Gangwook noticed nothing odd. That evening, Yuri paced anxiously, unsure if she ought to call Gangwook. Meanwhile, Gangwook was jolted awake in the middle of the night when his living room television switched on by itself. He caught a fleeting shadow inside his apartment. He hurried out to check, only to see the boy from Yuri's house charging straight toward him. Terrified, Gangwook turned and ran, immediately phoning Yuri to say the hide-and-seek boy had followed him all the way home. Yuri rushed over with soju and told him to drink a few cups to steady his nerves. Once Gangwook relaxed a little, she leaned in and whispered the truth into his ear, leaving him utterly stunned. Yuri searched Gangwook's apartment for the boy but found no trace of him. When she glanced at the mirror, she saw the child clinging to Gangwook's back. Horror washed over Gangwook. He screamed and twisted wildly, trying to shake the boy off. Yuri pulled him aside and told him to stay calm. When they looked again, the boy stood right in front of them.